Panghyon Airfield, North Korea, 4:23 a.m., clear pre-dawn sky, perfect satellite visibility. Hwasong-15 intercontinental ballistic missile on mobile transporter erector launcher, North Korea's most advanced ICBM, designed to reach anywhere in continental United States. 13,000-kilometer range, nuclear warhead capable. Kim Jong-un personally ordered the launch. Message to Washington, we can strike your homeland. Pyongyang prepared massive propaganda event. State media cameras positioned, military parade formation ready, international observers watching. The missile represented North Korea's ultimate deterrent, proof of nuclear capability, strategic equality with superpowers. At 4:28 a.m., the Hwasong-15 ignited. Massive flame plume, thunderous roar, missile climbing skyward, everything proceeding perfectly. Then, at 90 seconds after launch, something went catastrophically wrong. The missile didn't continue toward international waters. It didn't arc into space on intercontinental trajectory. It tumbled, lost control, inverted, and began falling back toward North Korean territory. Pyongyang's ultimate weapon became Pyongyang's worst nightmare. And what happened in the next 45 seconds proved North Korea's missile program has fatal flaws regime propaganda cannot hide. First, North Korea's guidance systems rely on components smuggled from China and Russia, subject to quality control failures and technological limitations. Second, the regime prioritizes propaganda launches over thorough testing, rushing systems to demonstrate capability before ensuring reliability. Third, international sanctions force North Korea to use inferior materials and outdated manufacturing processes. When the Hwasong-15 failed, it didn't fail in international waters where debris sinks unseen. It failed over North Korean territory, creating impact site visible from space, impossible to hide from commercial satellites, documented by multiple intelligence agencies. What happened in the 72 hours after impact became desperate cover-up operation that failed completely. Because in 2023, you cannot hide 15-meter crater from satellite surveillance. This is that story. North Korea's ballistic missile program began in the 1980s with Soviet-era Scud missiles purchased from Egypt, reverse engineering, incremental improvements, domestic production. By 1990s, North Korea produced Nodong medium-range missiles. By 2000s, Taepodong long-range systems. Progress was slow, expensive, frequently interrupted by failures regime never acknowledged publicly. The strategic imperative was clear. North Korea faced overwhelming conventional military disadvantage against South Korea and United States. ROK-US forces possess superior technology, training, equipment, air power, naval strength. In conventional war, North Korea would lose decisively. Nuclear weapons and delivery systems provided only viable deterrent. If Pyongyang could threaten nuclear strike on Seoul, Tokyo, Guam, eventually continental United States, enemy would think twice about military action. Deterrence through punishment threat, regime survival through nuclear capability. But deterrence requires credible threat. Missiles must work, must launch reliably, must fly accurately, must reach advertised ranges. Otherwise, nuclear weapons are useless. Can't deter if missiles explode on launch pad. Can't threaten if missiles crash into ocean after 30 seconds. Can't achieve strategic parity if technology fails publicly and repeatedly. This created fundamental problem for North Korean missile program. Regime needed to demonstrate capability to international audience, prove deterrent was real, show missiles could reach targets. But thorough testing requires dozens, even hundreds of launches. Each launch costs millions, uses scarce resources, reveals technical data to adversaries. North Korea couldn't afford extensive testing. Instead, regime-adopted strategy, limited tests, maximum propaganda, claimed success regardless of actual performance. By November 2023, North Korea had conducted approximately 100 ballistic missile tests over 3 decades. Some succeeded, many failed. Regime acknowledged only successes. State media showed perfect launches, omitted failures, edited footage, fabricated data. International observers knew actual success rate was approximately 60 to 70%, but Pyongyang maintained facade of flawless program. The Hwasong-15 represented North Korea's most ambitious system, liquid-fueled ICBM two-stage design, estimated 13,000-kilometer range, sufficient to reach Washington, D.C., New York, entire continental United States. Payload capacity for nuclear warhead, mobile launcher for survivability. First tested in November 2017 with partial success. Missile flew high-angle trajectory, splashed down in Sea of Japan after 53 minutes flight. North Korea declared complete success. U.S. intelligence-assessed missile demonstrated ICBM range capability, but questions remained about accuracy, re-entry vehicle survival, warhead miniaturization. 6 years passed, no additional Hwasong-15 tests. Why? Sanctions tightened, manufacturing difficulties increased, component availability decreased. But in October 2023, tensions escalated. USROK joint military exercises intensified. American aircraft carrier entered Yellow Sea. South Korea elected hardline president. North Korea needed to demonstrate deterrent remained credible, show missile capability intact, remind Washington that nuclear threat was real. At 2 p.m. on November 6, 2023, satellite imagery detected unusual activity at Panghyon Airfield. Large transporter erector launcher vehicle arriving, missile canister visible, support equipment positioning, launch preparation underway. U.S. Indo-Pacific Command issued alert. South Korean military went to heightened readiness. Japanese air defenses activated. The world was watching. At 8 p.m., North Korean state media announced imminent ICBM test. Rare pre-announcement designed to maximize propaganda impact and ensure international attention. Statement claimed test would demonstrate DPRK's overwhelming nuclear war deterrent capability and advanced missile technology surpassing imperial American systems. Translation: Pyongyang wanted everyone watching when Hwasong-15 demonstrated ability to reach U.S. mainland. At 11 p.m., Kim Jong-un arrived at Panghyon Airfield, unusual for Supreme Leader to personally attend launch, indicated political importance. State media cameras documented his inspection of missile, conversation with scientists, approval to proceed. Military parade formation assembled. Orchestrated propaganda event. At 4 a.m. on November 7th, final launch preparations began. Missile erected to vertical position. Fuel loading commenced. Hwasong-15 used liquid propellants requiring fueling immediately before launch, making system vulnerable but providing higher performance than solid fuel designs. Weather conditions were perfect. Clear sky, minimal wind, ideal for launch and tracking. At 4:23 a.m., U.S. reconnaissance satellites transmitted real-time imagery to Indo-Pacific Command and Space Force. Missile vertical, launch imminent. Aegis destroyers in Sea of Japan went to tracking alert. Early warning radars across Japan activated. Patriot missile batteries in South Korea prepared defensive engagement if missile deviated toward populated areas. At 4:28 a.m., Hwasong-15 ignited. Twin-engine configuration produced massive thrust. Flame plume visible for dozens of kilometers. Thunderous roar echoed across countryside. The 20-meter-tall missile lifted from launcher, accelerating upward, consuming fuel at tremendous rate, climbing through morning darkness. State media cameras captured perfect launch sequence. Regime officials applauded, everything proceeding nominally. At 4:29 a.m. and 30 seconds, the missile cleared 10 kilometers altitude, traveling approximately 2 kilometers per second. Trajectory analysis by U.S. Space Force indicated normal flight profile for ICBM launch. Missile appeared to be performing as designed, heading towards Sea of Japan for standard North Korean test pattern. Launch westward, fly over Japanese territory, splash down in Pacific. At 4:29 a.m. and 58 seconds, 90 seconds after ignition, catastrophic failure occurred. First stage engine experienced what engineers call hard start. Combustion instability causing pressure spike, structural failure, explosion. The massive engine disintegrated. Thrust terminated instantly. Missile was traveling 3 kilometers per second at 15 kilometers altitude. Without engine thrust, aerodynamic forces took over. The missile began tumbling. At 4:30 a.m., Space Force tracking systems detected deviation from expected trajectory. Instead of continuing upward and eastward, missile was decelerating, rotating, losing altitude. Command centers across Indo-Pacific went to alert status. Was this controlled maneuver, engine cut off for separation, or failure? At 4:30 a.m. and 15 seconds, the answer became clear. Hwasong 15 inverted completely, nose pointing downward, uncontrolled tumble, falling back toward North Korean territory. At 3 kilometers per second descent rate, impact was seconds away. At 4:30 a.m. and 43 seconds, the missile impacted Earth 40 kilometers southeast of Panghyon Airfield. The impact site was agricultural area, small village called Ryongnim, population approximately 300. The missile struck at hypersonic velocity. Remaining fuel detonated on impact. Explosion visible from satellite. Massive fireball. Shockwave flattening buildings within 500 meters. Crater 15 meters diameter, 4 meters deep. At Panghyon Airfield, Kim Jong-un and military officials watched in horror. Launch site had no immediate communication with impact area, but tracking data showed missile falling short, impacting own territory. Supreme Leader's face visible in state media footage, initial smile fading to confusion, then shock as subordinates whispered urgent reports. At 4:35 a.m., North Korean military emergency response teams scrambled. Orders transmitted: secure impact site, evacuate survivors, prevent information leakage, prepare damage assessment. But challenges were immediate. Impact occurred in populated area, dozens of witnesses, casualties likely, debris scattered across square kilometer. At 5 a.m., first responders reached impact site. Devastation was total within 300-meter radius. 12 buildings destroyed completely. Fire spreading to adjacent structures. Crater in center of village. Missile debris, twisted metal, burned composite materials, intact sections of guidance system scattered everywhere. And casualties. Initial count suggested 23 dead, 40+ injured from explosion and building collapse. At 5:30 a.m., North Korean state security forces arrived. New orders: establish perimeter, prevent civilian access, confiscate all cameras and phones, detain anyone who photographed impact, remove bodies, begin cleanup immediately. The regime understood the stakes. This failure happened on North Korean soil. Witnesses saw everything. If information leaked, propaganda value of missile program would collapse. But at 6 a.m., commercial satellites passed overhead. Planet Labs, Maxar Technologies, European Space Agency, multiple operators with high-resolution imaging capabilities. Clear morning light, no cloud cover, perfect photography conditions. The satellites captured everything. Fresh crater, debris field, emergency vehicles, fire damage, destroyed buildings, unmistakable evidence of missile impact on North Korean territory. By 8 a.m., satellite imagery reached U.S. intelligence community. Analysis confirmed. Hwasong 15 launch failure, impact on own territory, significant damage. By 9 a.m., Pentagon briefed White House. By 10 a.m., selected satellite images leaked to media. By noon, CNN, BBC, and major international outlets were broadcasting story. North Korea's ICBM test ended in catastrophic failure. Missile crashed into own village. Casualties reported. Pyongyang's response was predictable but desperate. At 2 p.m. North Korean time, state media broadcast completely fabricated account. DPRK successfully tested Hwasong 15 Sung. ICBM under personal guidance of Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un. Missile flew 1,000 kilometers, reached maximum altitude of 6,000 kilometers, splashed down precisely in target area of Sea of Japan. Test completely successful. DPRK nuclear deterrent capability proven beyond doubt. The lies were blatant. Satellite data showed missile flew 90 seconds, traveled 40 kilometers horizontally, impacted North Korean territory. No Sea of Japan splashdown, no 1,000-kilometer range, no success, just catastrophic failure and domestic casualties. International reaction was swift. South Korean military released statement. ROK and U.S. intelligence assets tracked North Korean missile launch from ignition to impact. Missile experienced failure approximately 90 seconds after launch and impacted North Korean territory. There was no Sea of Japan splashdown. North Korean claims are false. Japan confirmed. Japanese radar and satellite systems detected launch and failure. No missile debris entered Japanese territory or territorial waters. U.S. Space Force released unprecedented detail. Space-based sensors tracked Hwasong-15 from launch through catastrophic failure at T+90 seconds and subsequent impact at coordinates 39.8 degrees north, 125.3 degrees east, approximately 40 kilometers from launch site. Impact occurred on North Korean territory. No portion of missile reached international waters. The specificity was deliberate, showing North Korea that their failure was completely documented, tracked in real time, undeniable. By November 8th, commercial satellite companies released high-resolution imagery to media. The photographs showed fresh impact crater, destroyed buildings, emergency response vehicles, obvious signs of disaster. Independent analysts measured crater size, calculated impact velocity, estimated casualties. International media coverage was devastating for North Korea's propaganda narrative. Regime doubled down. Additional state media broadcasts claimed Western intelligence was fabricating data. Satellite images were manipulated. Imperialist forces spreading lies to undermine DPRK's legitimate defense capabilities. But the evidence was overwhelming. Multiple satellite operators, multiple intelligence agencies, consistent data, photographic proof. The strategic damage was severe. For decades, North Korea claimed missile program was technologically advanced, reliable, capable of striking United States. Hwasong-15 was supposed to be ultimate proof. Instead, spectacular public failure, missile lasting 90 seconds, crashing on own territory, killing own citizens, visible from space, documented by multiple sources, impossible to hide or deny credibly. Military analysts worldwide reassessed North Korean capabilities. If Hwasong-15 failed this catastrophically in controlled test conditions, perfect weather, prepared launch site, extensive preparation, what would happen in actual wartime launch under pressure? How reliable were North Korea's other systems? How many failures occurred that regime successfully hid? Questions about deterrent credibility multiplied. China's response was carefully measured but telling. No official statement supporting North Korean claims. No defensive missile test, just silence. Beijing understood the failure undermined regional stability. Unreliable North Korean missiles were dangerous to everyone, including China. Internal Chinese assessments reportedly expressed concern about North Korean technical capabilities and regime judgment. Russia, typically more supportive, also remained silent. Moscow had provided some missile technology to Pyongyang over decades. This failure reflected poorly on Russian assistance and raised questions about North Korean ability to properly utilize transferred technology. For North Korea, domestic damage control was equally problematic. Ryongnim village casualties couldn't be hidden from local population. Families lost members. Survivors saw missile impact. State security could confiscate phones, detain witnesses, threaten silence, but information still spread. Word-of-mouth networks in North Korea, despite totalitarian control, still function. People talk, stories spread, regime credibility erodes. The incident also exposed fundamental problems in North Korean missile development. Post-failure analysis by Western intelligence suggested multiple contributing factors: low-quality components due to sanctions, inadequate testing before operational launch, pressure to demonstrate capability overriding engineering caution, systematic problems with quality control in missile production, reliance on outdated technology and manufacturing processes. Specific technical assessment indicated the hard start: combustion instability causing engine failure, resulted from fuel mixture problems. Liquid fuel rocket engines require precise fuel-to-oxidizer ratios. Small deviations cause performance issues. Large deviations cause explosions. North Korean manufacturing tolerances were apparently insufficient to maintain required precision, possibly due to using lower-grade materials or improvised components to circumvent sanctions. The failure had lasting implications. North Korea conducted no further Hwasong-15 tests after November 2023. Missile programs shifted focus to solid fuel systems, less powerful but more reliable and easier to handle. The regime implicitly acknowledged liquid fuel ICBMs were too problematic. Strategic deterrent strategy adjusted from "we can hit continental United States" to "we can hit regional targets" with shorter range, more reliable systems. International deterrence calculations shifted. U.S. military planners noted that if North Korea couldn't reliably launch missiles in controlled conditions, wartime reliability would be significantly lower. South Korean defense strategy incorporated higher probability of North Korean missile failures, reducing estimated damage from potential attacks. Japanese civil defense planning adjusted casualty estimates downward based on demonstrated unreliability. Most significantly, the failure demonstrated that modern satellite surveillance makes missile test failures impossible to hide. North Korea could control domestic narrative through state media, but international community had independent verification through space-based sensors. Commercial satellite companies with resolution sufficient to identify vehicle types ensured transparency regime couldn't prevent. Today, the Ryongnim impact site remains visible in satellite imagery. Crater partially filled but still distinct. Buildings never fully rebuilt. Small memorial reportedly erected by local authorities, though its existence unconfirmed by defector reports. The village serves as permanent reminder that North Korea's ultimate weapons are not as ultimate as propaganda claims. Hwasong-15 program essentially ended after November 2023 failure. Subsequent missile development focused on Hwasong-18 solid fuel ICBM, different design, different approach, implicitly acknowledging Hwasong-15's problems. North Korea never explained why Hwasong-15 disappeared from propaganda displays after being showcased as ultimate deterrent. Kim Jong-un never publicly addressed the failure. State media never acknowledged casualties. North Korean UN representatives denied failure when confronted by Western diplomats. But regime action spoke louder than words. No more Hwasong-15 tests, shift to different systems, elimination of officials involved in program, restructuring of missile development organization. 4:28 a.m. Panghyon Airfield. North Korea's most advanced ICBM launched to demonstrate strategic deterrent capability. 4:30 a.m., 90 seconds later. Missile crashed into own territory, killed own citizens, created crater visible from space. 0 successful flight, 0 international waters impact, 0 deterrent demonstration, just catastrophic failure captured by satellites, documented by intelligence agencies, impossible to hide despite regime's best efforts. North Korea claimed perfect success. The world saw perfect failure. Because in 2023, commercial satellites see everything. Missile tests cannot be faked, and propaganda cannot override photographic evidence. The missile that was supposed to threaten Washington couldn't even reach the ocean, and the whole world watched it fall.